I could not be angrier. I could not be angrier if I tried. I am so pissed at you right now.
Let me head this off the pass. Two things we're talking about here. The first is the Apple event was today, and we're going to talk about it next week when Tucker is here, because we have with us Callan in place of Tucker today, and we also have Finney. But one thing we can talk about is a little bet that Harry and I made last year. Now, there were rumours going around about a rumoured 12-inch MacBook Air that had a single port for power, USB, HDMI, everything. This one port would do everything, and all it would do is have this one port in a compromise to make it thin, right? Harry said, they'd never do this, that's ridiculous. I said, they're definitely doing it.
It wasn't that specifically. It was that and the lack of anything else. I thought, no. Apple could not possibly be that penny pinching to the point where there will be less than 3 ports. Yeah. There must be at least 3 ports. It made sense to me.
And there is one. So
there is 2.
There's 2. The headphones, yeah.
Yes.
So Harry decided that the bet would be either $1,000 or... he would install Origin. So Harry owes me either his money or his integrity.
Yes. So the outcome purely depends on John's answer, in that if I give him $1,000, will he spend more of that money on Origin and EA than a single game such as Dragon Age Inquisition?
Considering Origin is free.
Well, because but I mean, if Harry's going to get Origin, he's going to play Dragon Age Inquisition on it, because it's a cop out to just say, oh yeah, I installed Origin. It's like, come on. So the thing is, will the $1,000 be spent on EA stuff? Like, will it be spent more than?
Or are you going to spend it elsewhere?
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
yes. I think I'd actually rather give you $1,000 if you're not going to spend it on EA. I hate EA so much.
John, if you get that $1,000, you must buy shares in EA with it.
I think I'm going to. Harry, I'd really like you to get Origin, because who knows what could happen. It could go anywhere.
Apple is the bane of my existence. Why did I think that Apple would be smart? Why did I think that?
Look, I don't know a lot of things, Harry. Stupid. I don't know a lot of things, but I know Apple stuff. That's the one thing I do know.
Look, we're discussing all of the Apple keynotes next week, but let's just specifically talk about the lack of ports.
No, let's not, because we're going to talk about that next week.
But we got so much to talk about elsewhere. There's other parts of that computer, plus the watch, plus latest software updates. But let's just talk about a single freaking USB Type-C connector. That is useless. That is pointless. You can't do shit with this computer.
You can do everything with this computer. You just need one adapter. That's it.
Nope. Computers get old. Batteries wear out. Okay? So you're wanting to plug in your $75 adapter so you can plug in a thumb drive to make a presentation. No. But your computer's out of battery, so you have to unplug that and put the charger in.
I'd take your foot immediately out of your mouth, because the $75 adapter does power, HDMI, and USB.
Oh, good. I'd hope that for $75. $75 to make the computer useful.
Yeah, but for $13.
I'm just thinking lol HDMI, because you want 2 fucked ports.
So the reason they couldn't put USB in there is because USB is thicker than the computer itself. It's a compromise. Harry, they're not getting rid of the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. This is just an addition. So I don't understand the hate. You might it's not for you, so don't buy it.
It's not for anyone. Absolutely no one.
It's for me. I would buy it.
You will not get any use.
I can't think of the last time that I plugged something into my computer.
Yes.
Right. Like, for real. If I can take this on flights and around and to work and in my backpack, and it's got all day battery life, I never need to plug anything in. Everything is on Google Drive anyway.
It has less battery life than the previous MacBook Air, and about the same as, I think it's the one with the smaller screen. So
yeah, it's got the same as the 11-inch MacBook Air, which is what I have right now. So I do find
less than the other,
less than the 13, because it's smaller.
Yes, and I've also read on one review that, and the guy didn't try it, but he was very tempted to, The screen is so thin, he thinks that with just the muscles of his right hand, not his arm, just his hand, he can break the screen.
Well, let's get ready.
You can do that with almost LCD.
Let's get ready for hashtag Bendgate.
I know. You better be
2015.
prepared for that shit. But I mean, I hate that. I hate Apple so much. They disguise disposable tech as premium stuff. You cannot have premium disposable. I understand.
You're the one who's saying it's disposable.
Harry, welcome to capitalism.
Yes. And they are the worst.
Every company does.
Harry, you're the one saying it's disposable. I've had this MacBook Air for 3 years. I've had a MacBook Pro for 5.
Yeah. You're not using the new one.
What are you talking? Because I don't have it. But why is this one suddenly disposable?
It is so thin, so skinny, and so utterly useless and underpowered that anyone who buys it, they're trying to recreate the cycle. They're
doing what they did with the first MacBook Air, which was the most successful thing they ever did, other than the iPhone. That's what they're trying to do.
Hold on. What do you mean the most successful thing? The most successful thing Apple's done is definitely the iPhone, not any of their computers.
Which is why I said other than the iPhone, Harry.
Oh, right.
Fucking listening comprehension .exe must be not working.
I need to listen faster. Shit. Sorry, I got too hung up on what you said to listen further.
I wrote this earlier in an argument that we were saying we were having on Facebook. It said, for a company whose success is predicated upon giving its customers products they didn't even know they wanted by thinking a few years ahead, and a company whose controversial technology decisions, like taking away Ethernet, taking away Thunderbolt, taking away everything, usually proves to be prescient. You can always find someone complaining about their decisions, but they generally tend to be good decisions at the end of the day.
Good decisions for Apple.
Well, yeah.
No shit!
Not the...
Oh my
It's
god,
not a
the company's
charity.
acting in its own best interest. What's going wrong with the world?
Apple's
That is
best
the dumbest statement I've ever heard on this
is to have
podcast.
Confirmed, Harry is communist.
Yeah, Apple's best interest is to have people like their computers, and this will make certain subsets like this computer because they will buy
don't
it.
think that's going to be the case.
I think that this will sell a lot, and I think it will get very good reviews. But the main thing with this one is next year's model and the model after that. They're going to be the big sellers.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They're basically redoing the thing where they changed the technology so that they can produce a shit item first time round and then lure people in with upgrades.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they're going to change the game when it comes to notebooks or whatever with this thinness or whatever it is, you got to do it shit in the first place because you can't make a fantastic product right out of the gate. It just doesn't work like that. You know, the first iPhone didn't have copy and paste. You know, it's generally Apple's MO is to make something that's really far forward looking but is really, really flawed and then iterate on it until a few years from now it's a really good product. I'm not saying this is the best laptop you can buy from Apple. I'm just saying that this was a good move from them and something that all of us have been waiting for a long time.
I don't see how anyone was waiting for it. Who was using the MacBook Air and going, you know what, this thing's too thick?
No, I was using it and
is
thinking
damn
it's too
thick.
small. It was too small. The screen wasn't big enough and it wasn't Retina. That was the problem.
Yeah, so you could have just gotten a MacBook Pro.
Too heavy.
They are not heavy computers.
Not enough power, like battery life. They had compromises as well. It's
Yes.
all about ultra portability when it comes to the Airs and when it comes to this thing. Anyway,
There's just
I think we
so
talked
many
about this
compromises in so many directions. I mean, USB 2, or USB 1 to 2, is so prevalent. I don't think you realize just how much of an industry standard USB
Don't
is.
even talk about industry standards. I mean, everyone else was using USB, Apple went FireWire. Everyone else was using USB 3, Apple went Thunderbolt. They never go with the industry standard.
Apple caved on that. The original iPod was for FireWire, and everyone was using USB, and so they finally went, okay, we're dropping FireWire support.
No, the reason they did that was the
iPod.
original iPod was Mac only. You couldn't use it on a PC.
Don't think that's the case.
That is 100% the case. There's no version of iTunes for Windows. You couldn't use it on a PC at all.
I think I have a Steve Jobs video that counters that.
Yeah, you can try, but the first
will
one was
find it.
Mac only. It's the reason I bought a Mac. I bought my first Mac because of that.
Interesting. Alas, I
Anyway.
am so angry that I thought I was going to win this hands down. I thought it's okay. there will be 3 ports. I mean, what kind of device would have less than 3 ports? And I have lost this bet.
So, what's your decision? What are you going to do?
That depends on where you throw your money.
I will. Well, fuck! I want $1,000.
Then you, sir, shall have $1,000 because fuck Origin.
But hold on, guys, Finney and Callan. What if we get him to start enjoying things like Battlefield and
That'll be the day.
No, you know that's not possible. He can't play video games correctly.
That's
Yeah,
He never could.
That's
This
true.
is true.
If he did play Dragon Age, Callan, he'd spend the whole time in the hinterlands and never leave. And he'd be like, this game is shit.
I think
No,
that's...
if he played Dragon Age, he would somehow wind up just in completely a different game. He would somehow make
He's playing
it
WoW
RuneScape.
all of a sudden.
No, he would suddenly say, "Wow, I'm playing Dragon Age Inquisition. This looks a lot like RuneScape," and it turns out he's actually playing RuneScape.
Yeah. So I got 17 minutes in, and then this blood elf came up to me and wasn't ready. I was like, Harry, blood elf, are you playing?
Are you playing
sure
RuneScape?
Are you sure you're playing Inquisition? He's like, yeah. I mean, I went to runescape.com. That's where Inquisition is, right?
Right. No. What the challenge is that I need to be in Dragon Age Inquisition and then in-game find my way into another game.
I'm sure you could work it out. Anyway, I'll expect the money in my account in the next couple of days. Not a problem.
Fair enough. Shit.
Now, what's
You were not going to pay me if I won that bet.
Sure I was. It just would have taken me longer than you'll take to pay me. You're the one who said $1,000, by the way. I said $50.
Yeah.
And you said, fuck it, $1,000.
Because I was so sure.
Yeah, well...
Who's pasted this shit into my notes for my news piece? Apparently my news piece is Big Boobs are here to stay for a Dead or Alive franchise.
Well, you didn't have anything to talk about. I figured you're the pervert in this group, other than Callan, you double perverts. This would be the one we're going to talk about.
I take offense to that.
What I really want to talk about is...
Mr. Pervert to you.
Yes, Senor Pervert.
Senor pervert.
The senior pervert. I look over a bunch of junior perverts.
Callan is
God, that
junior
could be
pervert,
interpreted
Harry
badly.
is senior pervert.
No, Harry's just a gifted he's just a talented natural.
Yeah, yikes. Oh, man, I'm starting to actually worry, maybe going to Japan had some kind of subconscious effect on me that I can't see myself, but you guys can see, because, boy, I have been the label of so many pervert jokes lately.
I think I noticed.
Yeah, there's a Royal Commission.
Royal Commission.
Lately.
I
Yes,
wouldn't be
lately.
surprised if there's a Royal Commission into just you soon.
Thanks. What were you saying, Andrew?
I think I noticed that change in you the moment we got off the plane in Osaka.
Yeah, maybe I was just prepared for it. Anime had that subconscious effect. You guys seen that Pokemon episode of South Park where Pokemon is actually a ploy by the Japanese to brainwash all the children?
Must defeat the evil masters. Yes, I have.
Exactly. Yes, that was the first episode of South Park I ever saw. My parents were
funny
very
you say
concerned.
Because I hate South Park and I've never watched any episode except for the WoW episode, but I've seen that one.
Nice.
It was funny.
Yeah, my parents were concerned because they'd heard bad things and they were going to watch it with me, so that they could tell me, okay, see, this is a bad thing. You shouldn't like this. But my dad laughed so much at all the racist jokes that he and I watched every episode every week since.
As I said, that's because your dad is basically Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino, but a bogan.
Yeah. Oh man, we all saw Gran Torino just recently. I love that movie. It is so good.
Rename it things that make Clint Eastwood angry.
Yes.
They just
Make
threw things at
racist
him.
Clint Eastwood.
They just threw things at him that they knew would make him angry, and then just turned the camera around on his face and got the reaction shot. That's the whole movie. Grandkids want to send you to retirement home. Asians moving next door. Gangs. Young kids.
The best part of the movie was when he finally actually snaps. It just cuts to straight after. You don't see him
Yeah,
blow
we
his
booted
shit.
his son and his wife out.
Yeah, that was so funny. So yeah, good movie. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not actually talking about this news piece, so let's move on.
Move on to the bind then.
Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty, so throughout last year, Microsoft decided that it had made a colossal mistake in attempting to use Windows Live. Or what was it?
Games for Windows.
Games for
Live.
Windows.
Games
Live.
for Windows. Sorry, yeah, Games for Windows as an attempt to do online gaming, which was widely considered to be the biggest joke on the internet.
It even cost money.
Yeah.
PC.
So
Specifically,
they ditched
online
it.
gaming on PC. We're talking about, not on consoles, not the Xbox
Yeah.
Live.
So they ditched it because they realized it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
They even came out. Phil Spencer said, when it came to PC gaming, we've lost our way. No shit, we've known that for some time, you spastics.
Yeah.
But the company, they want another chance at it, so they're going to take another crack, and because part of it's Windows 10 coming out, they're getting ready to give game developers a look at a toolkit for integrating it into Xbox Live, which they're hopefully going to run with Windows 10. So sort of merging their Microsoft PC gaming reputation, of which is no longer existent, and Xbox gaming, which will allow for cross-platform gaming, supposedly, which is going to end really well when all the console tards come up against people who can actually play games and
Well,
complain.
it's good for us, right?
Yeah, well, it's all of a sudden you're playing all these games and wow, what's with all these useless idiots? Why are we suddenly killing? Oh, that's right, they're on Xboxes.
Now I can get told what my mother's up to on the weekend by 13-year-olds instead of 14-year-olds.
Hopefully they'll just make the mute button a lot easier. Look, it's actually, the conference they had about it was actually very honest because they mentioned the Windows 8 App Store, which Spencer said wasn't a huge revenue driver, which is for developers out there, which is a nice way of saying it's a waste of bloody space.
It's the biggest understatement of all time. It's not a great revenue driver for us. Windows Phone has like 3% market share.
Yeah, so there's that, which is... I appreciate the honesty, but when it came there and said not a huge revenue driver and we've lost our way, that really is just like, yeah, understatement of the freaking decade.
It seems to be like the whole Xbox idea, or Xbox Live, seems to now be a service across both platforms, right, across PC and Xbox, where developers can build games and it'll run on both, and they don't have to code it differently for both, because they're going to, when Windows 10 comes out, they're going to change the OS that's running on the Xbox One to Windows 10.
What will be entertaining is if when they do try and make Windows Live, like Xbox Live on PC, if for people on PC they say, Xbox Live, you've got to pay for it, I think the internet will then again look, point, and laugh, and move on.
Yeah,
But they've
I
also
don't
put
think they
themselves
will.
in... Well, that puts them into a bit of a corner, because all the PC people will go, cool, free gaming. And then all the Xbox tards, we see they go, oh, but we have to pay. We bought your shitty Xbox.
I think they'll be able to justify the fact that PC people can play for free and console people will have to pay $8 a month or whatever it is, $5 a month, by just saying that, you know, I mean, we're not used to paying for being able to play online, and console games are.
Well, the stupid thing is, if they tried that, it just flat out would not work, because you don't have to pay for Steam. You don't have to pay for Origin.
Games for
You don't
Windows
have to
Live.
pay.
You had to pay $50 a year for that, you know.
Exactly.
And then a year later,
No way.
they took that away because they realized that's dumb. So there's no way they're going to do it again.
Well, the thing is, with PC gamers, we're a fickle lot. You do something that pisses enough of us off, and we just won't do it. We just won't take part in what it is you do anymore. Then that's what happens with Windows Live. Everyone thought it was a joke, so no one got behind it, and it fell apart.
Someone cracked the DLL very quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas
Now,
console people they don't have a huge amount of choice in the matter, so they have to go along with it. Whereas we have so many other services we can go to that we can just selectively ignore them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why all the game platforms on PC, Origin, Steam, GOG, they're all free, because we're so used to it that if you can't really make us pay for them. I mean, Steam could, and people would. Origin, I think, would lose a lot of people if they did.
I don't think that this whole Xbox thing is going to be like a Steam or a Origin with a store and with DRM.
Probably
for
not,
that.
yeah.
I think what it is like a layer that developers can integrate into the game itself, where you can have your friend lists, your achievements shared across both platforms, that sort of thing. I don't think it's an actual... I think I think the use case will be you can go into Steam, buy a game and launch it up, and Xbox Live will launch along with it, like as an overlay or whatever, and you can interact with Xboxy stuff. I don't think it's an actual storefront.
Not really, no.
Yeah, but that's just from my reading of it. I'm not sure if that's
But
right.
it is good that they've sort of said, right, we screwed up, and now we're going to try and make up for it, because it's definitely too late for them to even attempt to make any form of storefront.
Yeah.
So I think you're right in that.
One
They'll just
upside,
go.
One upside, I think, of this
There's
is...
a couple of upsides to it.
Well, there's a few, but I think a big one will be that Halo on PC will now be a no-brainer, because it's literally the same executable that runs on both.
It better be.
So it'll just be a business decision whether to do it or not, and I don't see the downside of the business decision to put it on PC.
Halo is a massive seller of Xboxes.
Yeah, and it's always been. It created the Xbox, pretty much.
So I don't see them doing that anytime soon.
I reckon they would. I mean, I didn't buy an Xbox One just to play Halo.
But a lot of people would.
Yeah,
I nearly did.
That's true.
I have a question. Sorry, a quick question. So they are changing the OS for the Xbox One when Windows 10 comes out to a form of Windows 10. What's our theories on how many days the Xbox is going to be down?
It'll be one update.
Yeah, it'll be an update.
One big update.
Well, now it's
one big update that's going to brick the console.
Well, right now the console runs 3 OSs. One of those OSs is Windows 8, and so they'll just update the Windows 8 part to Windows 10.
Yes, but this is an entire version update. I'm expecting issues.
Yeah, well, they may well be, but
You
I
kind
mean,
of have to
Microsoft's
expect
done
that.
one thing recently that's been really good, and it's cloud services with its Microsoft Azure service.
Let's hope.
It's only done one thing good recently, and that's that.
So this might be the absolute longest period of time between a device going out, the Xbox One, and that same device going back into beta when Windows 10 comes out.
Well, I respect to them for having the guts to do it.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm just concerned that they might cut corners with the release.
Oh, well, I don't think so. They haven't even given a release date to Windows 10 as far as I'm aware, which is a good sign, because it means they're just going to wait till it's done.
Hats off to them if it's a seamless update. That'd be fantastic. But I'm concerned that it won't be.
Well, that's no surprise that you're being cynical about something.
Wait, me cynical? No. Perish the thought.
Well, if you can update I haven't actually really looked too much in the Xbox One. So you're saying it's got two partitions, one which runs the Xbox One general shell, and one which is actually Windows 8.
No, the Xbox One has 3 OSs. One of them is the one that runs the games. One of them is the overlay over the top of the games, and one of them is the you guys have seen it when I press when I'm in a game and I press the home button, it goes back to that screen with all the squares.
So that's not a shell, that's actually a different OS.
It's a different OS. There's 3 OSs running at the same time.
That's fucking dumb.
Well, yeah, I mean...
That is a horrid waste
For some
of
reason, they must have thought that was the right way to do it, and it hasn't hurt them too much because Xbox One sells more than the PS4 now. So,
well, I think it probably goes into the fact that, funnily enough, from Windows 7 onwards, they're not actually true operating systems; they're all virtual machines.
Yeah, they just hope the
Windows 7 is in fact
enough.
a virtual machine running on itself, basically.
Well, Windows has always been too many layers. That's why OS 10 and Linux has always been faster, because they are literally just the OS and then no abstraction layer. Straight to the kernel, away you go. Windows has always had an extra step, and that's why things are slower on it generally. But in this case, there's not 3 extra steps. Like, what I'm saying is there isn't 3 different layers. There's 3 OSs running at the same time, and they're all interacting with each other on the Xbox One. But this whole Windows 10 thing, maybe the big reason they're pushing to do it is to unify that. Maybe
quite
that's
possibly.
the idea. So anyway, we don't know. But
yeah, I mean, I have a little bit of experience with different versions of Linux, and yeah, none of them are really any. It all comes down to really which desktop environment are you using, because in the end, most of the other things, unless you're going really deep into it, aren't too bad. They're saying that funnily enough, for work, I was required to load up Chromium.
right, yeah, how'd that go?
It's actually just really quite easy. The installation is unusual in that you actually have to load the image on. It comes in the form of an image. Anybody who actually wants to try Chromium OS, just look up Arnold the Bat. He is a developer who gives daily and weekly updates to Chromium OS. And then you essentially run the install from just using Bash script, and it's really just quite simple, and it's really
Cal,
easy to use.
Correct me here. So Chromium OS, Chromium is the open source version of Chrome
Yes.
OS, right?
Yes, it's what Chrome OS is actually based on. Chromium.
And so explain Chrome OS to people in case they don't know, because that's the more known
if you ever heard of these Chromebooks, their main operating system is Chrome OS, especially with the Google ones. There actually are a couple of devices using Chromium. Namely, Kogan released a TV, I think, of some form that was using Chromium.
Yeah, that's right. So what's different about it to a normal OS, to like Windows or OS 10?
Well, I'll probably just give a quick background. Chromium was originally based on Ubuntu ages upon ages ago, and then after Google bought it out, they started to build off of Gen 2 instead. It's essentially just an OS designed to run a web browser, and that's it. That was its initial concept. It was web browser, and that's all. So you only have was really quick and really simple, and you wouldn't get too many problems with it simply because it didn't have to load in drivers for bloody everything. It didn't have to support everything. It just had to support your inputs and your networking. That's it. It doesn't detect your CD-ROM drive, doesn't look for any legacy equipment, your the floppy disks and your like other legacy PCI and AGP devices that all other OSs have to have there simply to support legacy. It just runs Chrome, and that was its initial concept. Now, obviously, with Google Marketplace getting larger by the second, really, they started getting some native support for certain applications. It's still very early days.
I really can't wait to play the latest fart button app in the Google Play Store.
No, it's different. It's not the same as an Android store. The Android Google Play Store. It's slightly different. But the big thing that Chromium seems to be starting to gain traction with is people who want to develop embedded applications. So essentially, imagine your like wayfinders, your directories, your just things that are technically computers, but you don't see too often. If you can build just a web app, then Chromium OS is what you'd pick, because it doesn't care about anything else that's going on. The OS is quite simple. And anyone who's worked with operating systems or any level of programming, the simpler you get, the less likely you are to have bloody problems. So it just makes life easier. We're doing this work because we have some people who are developing essentially applications built on top specifically for Chromium. It gives them a uniqueness, and also reduces overheads by not having to look for licensing for a Windows operating system and not having to put up with all the essentially overhead bullshit that you get with all other Linux distributions.
Well, the biggest thing that Chromebooks specifically, I know it's different in Chromium, but Chrome OS in this case, that Chromebooks are going into is education right now. Pretty much 90% of the people who buy Chromebooks are schools these days, and we're actually doing a education application for a overseas country that is all running on Chrome OS, and so it's way easier because pretty much it's easier and harder because you just have to write your thing in HTML pretty much in HTML5. But the downside is that there are a lot of restrictions to the actual hardware. So our thing has a lot of 3D graphics in it. And, I mean, while that may be fine to run it on Windows or run it on OS X with a low-spec laptop, it's hard to do it with Chrome OS because we can't really... It's all virtualized.
I actually have seen a deployment of Chromebooks, which was, funnily enough, governmental. It was services, and he absolutely loved it up until the hardware. Started.
The hardware is shit in the Chromebooks, except for one.
Yeah.
There is one Chromebook that is actually really kick-ass hardware, really, really nice, but it costs about $4,000. It's called the Chromebook
That defeats the
Pixel.
purpose.
Yeah, it's called the Chromebook Pixel. And it's got an awesome screen, it's really good hardware, it's really fast, it's great, but it costs about $4,000. At least it did. I don't know if it's cheaper now, but that was about a year ago.
I think the bigger thing about Chromium is that Chromium and Chrome OS are really starting to make movements now. And I still wouldn't call it a full mainstream operating system just yet, but there's a lot of development work going on in the background with various devs on all sorts of levels. Some who are modifying the operating system themselves, some who are just developing apps on top of it, some who are just enjoy working with the web browser.
Yeah, it's no secret that the biggest use case of computers these days is the browser, is the internet. That's 90% of the things most people do on computers is not games, even word processing anymore. It's in the browser, whether that browser be Safari, Firefox, or Chrome. So making an entire OS out of something like that is obviously paying dividends because Chrome OS, I don't know about Chromium, but Chrome OS is actually really growing in the OS market share. In fact, it's catching up to Windows Phone. So
I always love the Windows Phone bashing because I ended up having to use
I like Windows Phone.
I know it was actually not a bad operating system.
If you held a gun to my head,
good.
if you held a gun to my head and said, "John, you can't have an iPhone anymore," I would get a Windows Phone like that. In an instant, I would get a Windows Phone. I really like the design.
I still personally prefer Android, but I would not put down Windows Phone. It's
I love
not
the design.
bad.
I love the design of Windows Phone. Unfortunately, like Finney said, it never reached critical mass to get people to want to do
it. Never reached any mass. That was the problem.
To get people to want
let
to
alone
develop
critical
apps for it. So nobody develops apps for it. It's a lot less of an attractive platform. However, design-wise and how the way the actual OS works, it is a much more attractive OS to me than Android is. But it's a shame that it's got such a shitty market share. Although it has taken over BlackBerry. which would have been a really big headline 8 years ago, but now it's dead man rolls over other dead man. That's pretty much what the headline would be.
I honestly do miss my BlackBerry a bit simply because it handled emails better than any other phone. It was just that was the only thing I wanted it for was its handling of emails. Was
my god! While we're jerking off Microsoft over here, Callan, you've got a iPhone. I think they have it on Android as well. Have you tried the new Outlook app?
No, because my company decides not to use Outlook.
Okay, so no, I don't use Outlook on the PC or anything, but on my iPhone. Microsoft bought a company, I forget what it was called, but it was a company that did one of those. It was like Mailbox. They did one of those really cool ways of dealing with mail, where you can like swipe and archive something or schedule it to pop back in your inbox in an hour from now, so you can deal with it, that sort of thing. Really well designed. Anyway, Microsoft bought them, and then like 3 months later, the Outlook app has come out on iOS and Android. And it's really well designed, and it works not just with Exchange, but it works with Gmail, it works with IMAP accounts and POP accounts and all that sort of thing. Really, really well designed. I definitely want you to check that out because it might solve your email issues, because Apple Mail on iOS has never been that great, and this solves all my problems. I've been using it for about a month and a half now. It's great.
Beauty.
I'd recommend it. Was there any more from you on Chromium?
Not really. There's a couple of things that just need fixing up. The particular build I was using, I'm not sure if it's been fixed because I'm actually using an older build which I know works. The on-screen keyboard doesn't pop up until after you finish configuration.
On-screen keyboard? Why would there be an on-screen keyboard?
Because the main design for this, I work with mainly embedded applications.
Oh, of course.
I work
touchscreens.
With unattended and essentially a lot of the things I'm trying to design, we don't want to ever use the ports after it's initially set up.
Right, of course.
So I get this thing, I click, and I'm just like, where's my on-screen keyboard? No on-screen keyboard. So I get my just keyboard I have lying around, configure it, come in, oh, there it is. Why didn't you appear during config?
Oh, well.
Because Android does that natively. From the raw Android developers I do some work with, because I have people who not that they don't develop Android apps, they actually develop and their own Android versions. And yeah, every single one, the keyboards popped up immediately, and that was just sort of a nitpicky thing with Chromium. It just it didn't pop me up a keyboard when I wanted it.
Well, speaking of things that don't really work, EA closed Maxis.
I know, I understand.
Which your laughter is cruel, Harry, because Maxis has brought us some of the best games of all time. It's very sad, and
it's the same laugh I would laugh if BioWare crumbled.
We reach our heart out to the people of Maxis in Emeryville.
People have just lost their jobs.
The people have just lost their jobs. We hope that they land somewhere either back within EA or further afield.
I'm sorry. EA just closed Maxis, and you're saying you hope they get a job elsewhere in EA?
Well, apparently EA is...
The only thing worse than getting laid off is getting laid off twice, you know.
Yeah, but apparently EA is offering them jobs in either different departments, or in this case, departments to handle the development of SimCity. But Maxis, the majority of people there are getting laid off, and it sucks because while we'll talk in a second about the current SimCity and the reason this is happening, but Maxis developed the most sold PC game of all time, The Sims, as well as Sims 2, which was fantastic, and The Sims 3, which was fantastic, and The Sims 4, which was, while not fantastic, still did get some pretty good reviews. And obviously, apart from the most current SimCity, like 4 of our most favourite games of all time, from SimCity 2000 through till SimCity 4. They're a really good developer. They even did Spore, which, was ambitious. It was ambitious, and it was unfortunate that they happened to be under EA, and that crushed their ambition. But the idea for the game is really big. Anyway, the point is that they're a top tier developer like Bullfrog used to be, and it's a big shame that they're gone. Because I think that they could have learnt from their SimCity troubles and done a new one, and it would have been a lot better.
I still remember going into the urban development kit, which was the one where
that's all I would do in SimCity.
No, because what I would do is I wasn't doing it for the city, or I didn't actually want to play those cities in SimCity. I would just build ridiculously stupid and no sense was made of this cities to play in Simcopter.
Remember Sim Farm as well?
Yeah, Sim Farm was actually really fun because I think I actually have played every Sim game made by Maxis.
What was the other one? Was it Sim God? Was that what it was called? Or was
Sim
something?
Life.
Sim Life. That's right.
Yeah.
Sim Life.
That one was just confusing to 6-year-old me.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't very good. Like, the only really actually good ones were the SimCity games and The Sims.
No, Sim Farm was actually
fun.
The Sim Farm was actually one of the ones I enjoyed quite thoroughly.
No, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't a very good game.
Sim Tower was infuriating.
Sim Tower was
Sim
brilliant.
Tower.
I remember first playing Sim Tower, and I just had this ridiculously long flat tower because I couldn't figure out how to put another level on.
Oh, you put more levels on and things just got worse.
No, I don't know why. Young me just couldn't figure out how to put another level on, so I just had this 2 kilometer long just room. It was a single room. It was brilliant.
SimCity has a place in my heart for the first game that I ever went to cheat CC for. Look up cheats for.
I already knew the bond trick, which was the only one you needed.
Oh, I didn't know that at all. Tell me about it.
Yeah,
so I can go back and play it.
Take out 2 bonds, refund both of them, and then take out another bond. Leave for 3 months, you're making $1 million a month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's what I memorized years ago. I'm pretty sure that's what it is because I haven't played it in 15 years. Give me some time. But yeah, there was a trick you could do with the bonds by taking them and repaying them that would essentially. I'm not sure if it was actually a cheat or whether it actually glitched the game out and it just kept giving you just ridiculous amounts of money every month.
Oh dear. Well, let me tell you what I did for my cheats. So, I played SimCity on the school computers. This was in primary school, so I think I was in year 3, which age-wise, that's 8 years old? Is that 7 or 8 years old? Is that
Maths.
right? Something like that. So I was in year 3, and SimCity was on the school computers, and what I would do is I would go home and beg Dad for 2 years to buy a computer for home. This was 1997, right? And one day I got home and he'd bought a computer and it was an HP. It was the best thing of all time. It had 800 megahertz. It was a 486. It had, let's say, 32 megabyte video card. It had 20 gigabyte hard drive. This thing was a fucking beast, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, holy shit, that's big for that.
This was pretty OP piece of crap.
Yeah, there was a fucking, like, apparently, I asked him years later, apparently this thing cost about $11,000, right?
Whoa.
Which, at the time, all computers cost that back then, but
yeah,
this
cheap.
was an especially expensive one. So, the first thing I did was, I went to, not Yahoo, because Google didn't exist at this time, not Yahoo, I went to Alta Vista. And
I loved all of this stuff.
I searched for SimCity cheats, searched that, went to this place called CheatCC, wrote them all down on a piece of physical paper with a physical pen, and then brought it to school, and then snuck into the computer labs at school, and put in the cheats. And apparently cheats for the Mac are different than cheats for the PCs, so the cheats didn't work and I was very sad, so I had to go home again. That was the other thing. He had to buy an internet connection for me to get these cheats. That's the other thing. People now assume these days computer equals internet. We didn't have an internet connection, so we had to get an internet connection so I could look at my cheats. So the first thing I ever did on the internet was look up cheats for SimCity. The second thing I ever did was get Napster and download Teenage Dirtbag.
But for somebody who bases their entire life on the internet, you joined it a bit late.
I was fucking 7 years old. What do you expect?
But the
playing
whole thing is
Half-Life.
I swear we were older when Napster first came out, weren't we?
I think we were.
Now, I believe Napster... Well, I mean, we've got the internet at our fingertips right now. Let's find out. Napster... When did Napster come out?
Napster.
Napster came out in... 1999. So there you go. I'm off by 1
I would have been in year 4.
I would have been in year 4 as well. So, yeah.
Likewise.
So, 1999. So I was a year off. But yeah, Teenage Dirtbag, all about it. Long tangent short. What I want to ask you guys is how much of what was wrong, and bias aside, Harry, how much of what was wrong with SimCity, the remake, was the devs' fault, and how much of it was EA's? Like, certainly, I know what you're going to say, Harry, but certainly the always online part was from the publisher. But the fact that the cities were really small, the whole sort of let's use a simulation for everything, even water and sewage system, which was fucked, and the super completely fake simulation, that's probably not EA's fault.
It depends to some degree on the time constraints placed upon them by the publisher.
That's a design decision, though. Like, deciding that the traffic system is the same system that governs the underwater water system and the underground sewage system.
Oh, yeah, that kind of crap. Yeah, that's like developers.
That's a decision that they made.
Yeah, but a decision under constraints, you know.
No,
we don't have
that's
time to do
that's
this and
drawing
this,
board
let's roll
stuff.
them together.
No,
You know,
but Harry, that's
where-
drawing board stuff. You know, that's right at the beginning they decided to do that, sounds like. Like, to be honest, like, bloated population numbers and Sims that would switch homes and jobs every day, and things like water and electricity not getting to where they're needed because the agents for it couldn't path correctly, are, like, really avoidable errors, but not really errors. They're, like, mistakes in design choice right at the beginning. So, I don't... While it sucks that Maxis is, getting shut down by EA... I think they are mostly at fault for the problems of SimCity because the always online thing was not the worst thing about SimCity. That was the least.
The bugs
that was
that
like
came
the
with it.
yeah. The always online thing was the least important thing. It was like Diablo 3. It was like for a week it sucked and then it was fine. It was the bugs that came with it that mostly sucked, and I think that
I think they screwed up in the concept originally. I didn't want to, like, even with SimCity 4, my main problem was that I had to build my city in lots, which was, annoying, which was just plain annoying. I mean, I understand that it had to be done because the hardware, most people's hardware can't process something that large, but I would have I personally would have taken drop in graphics quality for the ability to just build one big city without having to constantly switch frickin' areas.
Are you talking about in the newer SimCity?
Yeah.
Not that, sorry, I thought you said SimCity 4.
Because SimCity 4 as well was the same. You had to build it in areas.
No, SimCity 4 had larger, I mean, you did have to, but SimCity 4 had much larger
still built it in areas.
Yeah,
you had larger areas to work with, but you still had to build it in areas. The online thing was just dumb from the get-go. Who the hell... SimCity and The Sims were always games that were sort of like... You just wanted to play them by yourself and be God for a while. You didn't want to be God with other gods.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to attract... That decision there, always online, try to turn it into a multiplayer, to try to attract customers from the multiplayer market. So that way you can say, look, Sim is now a multiplayer game as well. So there'd be enough of them that would buy it to just see what it's like as a pseudo or multiplayer game that they hoped would have justified the choice. It didn't justify it. It backfired. But I suppose they had thought perhaps they could lure enough people over just on the off chance that the multiplayer might be worth playing.
Like, the perfect scenario for what they were thinking is... us four all getting plus Docker, us 4, 5 all getting together, having SimCity, and we have a region, and then we all run a city within that region, and one of us will be like the sewage guy, and one of us will be the coal guy, probably Finny, and one of us will be the technology guy, one of us will be the gambling guy, and so we're all sort of like helping out each other's city so the region prospers. That's like the perfect, end game scenario for what they think would happen, right? Even that, as fun as that sounds, is not as fun as a really massive city that I can just fuck around with myself in single player.
Well, yeah. I think they need to give you the ability for your one city to be able to last by itself without assistance.
Yeah, you can't do that in the new SimCity. You need to go and build another city that takes your garbage, and another city that sends you tourists,
I'll post a link to you guys, because this is apparently going to be the spiritual successor to...
I wanted to talk about that! Thank you, Callan.
I'll quickly introduce it, and then John can talk about it.
Go ahead.
It's called Cities Skylines. I've only just heard about it, and this looks like the city builder I want to play. Now, John, thoughts?
I didn't know what game I would talk about this week, and so, because I talked about the new Exo Zombies mode in Advanced Warfare, I played that, but I also got sent an early copy by Paradox of City Skylines. I wanted to talk about it next week because I've only played an hour and a half of it, but I'll talk about mostly Advanced Warfare, but I'll talk very briefly.
John.
Yep.
Harry played 17 minutes of Shadows of Mordor, and that justified his review of it.
Damn straight it did.
Yes, but I'm not Harry, so I want to give a real review.
But we play video games properly.
Yeah. So I've only played an hour and a half. I'll give my big review. We'll talk about it next week. But it comes out today, by the way, if anyone wants to play it. It comes out on March the 10th. In America, so I guess March the 11th here. It is SimCity done right. It is massive in scope. You can have your massive cities. It doesn't look, I'll be honest, it doesn't look as good as SimCity does with the depth of field and beautiful, the people running around and everything. It doesn't look as good, but it also doesn't have any of the bullshit simulation stuff. So it does have simulation with traffic and with where people live and stuff, but it doesn't do it wrong like SimCity does. You got everything from your highways being able to curve, and you can have off-ramps and exits on the highways themselves, not needing to go back down to ground level. You can make the most inefficient city if you want to, or you can make the most sort of the most grid-like New York City sort of efficiency if you want. It's really, really deep, and it runs really, really well. I have an i7 780 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, and SimCity still runs like shit on my computer. But this game, absolute butter. I'm getting the full 60 frames a second the entire time, nothing dropping, even zooming in and out, all these things going on. I'm having a really, really great time with it, and according to all the reviews on the internet so far, they all agree with me. It's apparently a really, really great version of SimCity, not done by Maxis.
You know, a game is going to be easy to install when the required processor for the AMD is an Athlon 64 X2. That is a fucking old processor.
Yeah, but it's a good
Like,
processor.
holy shit!
What was that game? What
What
was that game? Fuck, what was that game ages ago? We reviewed it. I forgot what it was. It was a really simple game. But the requirements on Steam were like 2 bits of string with a battery on either end, like for the processor. I forget what it was. I think it was Goat Simulator, right? Yeah, it was Goat Simulator. They had really funny requirements.
Sounds like something they do.
Yeah.
Required hard drive space 4 gig,
Yeah. Which is
and
funny.
that's including page file.
Which is funny considering Advanced Warfare, which I'm about to talk about, is a 56 gig download.
What?
Uncompressed sound files.
Uncompressed sound files. Titanfall was the same way. That was a 40 gig download. So I've already spoken about Advanced Warfare and how much I actually really love it. And it's probably the best COD in years, and I've hated COD for years, and I love this one. But COD, for the past few years, has always come out with a zombies mode. And Advanced Warfare didn't come with one, which disappointed many people. However, it is now out. They've just added it in. It's called Exo Zombies, and Exo being the exoskeleton suits that you wear in the game. So imagine the zombie mode from Black Ops, or even World at War, or way back there, which is pretty much it's a cinematic, story-driven co-op wave-based thing, like Unreal Tournament had it, Gears of War had it, just wave-based enemies coming at you. But imagine if all those enemies are not only zombies, but they're zombies that have jetpacks and can jump around and can ground slam you and can have shields and all the powers you have in the single player and multiplayer. They have all those powers too, but they're zombies, and there's tons of them. The actual characters in this co-op section are one of them's played by John Malkovich, the other is played by what's the guy from Aliens? Game over, man! Game over! That guy. In Alien, I forget what it is. Anyway, that guy. And 2 other people who I have no idea who they are. A woman and a man, who are obviously some sort of actors on some sort of modern television novella. It's just such great fucking fun, and I really hope that we can play it someday, because it's not just a wave-based survival thing. It's all about getting your weapon and getting to an upgrade station to upgrade it, but going out to do it will put you in danger of getting overwhelmed by the zombies. So it's got really interesting choices, and you open up the map as you go, and you earn money for every kill and headshots and all this sort of thing. Anyway, it's really, really challenging, really, really fun, and it's part of the Havoc DLC pack, which also comes with a whole bunch of maps, extra weapons, all that sort of stuff. So really, if you've already got Advanced Warfare, really worth checking out. And if you're going to buy Advanced Warfare, because I believe it's on sale, it's worth it just for the campaign alone, but the multiplayer and now this thing is worth it even more. I'm going to be playing this thing for years to come. You ever find that game where you just go, oh shit, I'm going to be playing this for a long time?
I think I asked you guys that many times.
Yeah, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, and the Zombies mode for this, I'm going to be playing this for a very, very long time, so I definitely recommend it, for sure. Now, a long time ago, speaking of long times, by a long time ago I mean a week ago, we all talked about Homeworld, but we'd only played it for a few hours. Finney, do you have any further thoughts?
How do you? It's difficult
Words.
to. Yeah, I know.
How do you words?
I don't know. It was amazing to start with, and it's just gotten better.
Are you up to Homeworld? Where are you up to? You up to Homeworld 2 yet? Or?
I'm still going through Homeworld.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all know Homeworld was the better game.
Oh, I don't know. I think in my opinion, I think Homeworld 2 had better mission design, but Homeworld 1 had better everything else. Story, everything else. Homeworld 1's mission design was sometimes such fucking bullshit.
Well, I just finished the Supernova Station mission where you have to follow the dust cloud. Well, I'm a couple of levels ahead of that, down to the actual research station. The dust cloud in the first one was damn near impossible to see. In this one, I think it may be harder to see.
It is. It's like a pixel. Back
Yeah,
then,
so, like,
because
oh,
it was
there's
so
a
it was so shitty graphics, it was really easy to see.
Yeah, so the first time I took off with my battle fleet, they all flew out into the radiation and exploded, which was irritating. Although it is great. I really think this game should be renamed just Thieving in Space. Because I don't look at the enemy war fleet and think, oh crap. I think, ooh, I like that. I'll have
Salvage
it.
Corvette Army.
And then there's
Dispatch.
this swarm of salvage corvettes goes out and grabs all of their stuff and brings it back. It was a
As I
great
said,
part.
I'm.
There you go, Cal.
I am only 4th mission in, and I already have a carrier and 3 destroyers, all stolen.
Well, what's great is I have 4 heavy cruisers, and none of them are mine. I can't build my own heavy cruisers because I've outdone the pop with the Tidans ones.
Oh,
It's just
man.
literally... Even when, what was it? It was the mission where you get pulled out of hyperspace just after you save the Bentusian. There's 3 gravity well generators surrounding you.
Oh my god!
I had sent that first off, my massive fleet, which was 2/3 Tidan, just annihilated everything because there were so damn many of them. And then I sent my fleet after, basically to the other side of the map to try and find the enemy. And then the remnants of their fleet, which was a heavy cruiser and 4 ion cannon frigates, plus a hell of a lot of fighters, all appeared directly below my my mothership, which was only defended by multi-gun corvettes and defenders.
The same thing happened to me. Exact
Yep.
same thing.
Except the enemy probably didn't account for the swarm of salvage corvettes that descended upon it and stole all their stuff. and then the rebel captain, the Tidan rebel captain, turns up, and I sort of thought this would be rather distressing for him. Because he turns up and says, oh, I'm here to help, and why are half my ships already here? And then he starts talking about, I'll give the signal for the rebellion to start. And I just said, how can you signal a rebellion when I own all your ships? I grabbed their heavy cruiser and their 4 ion cannon frigates when they appeared below me. I was like, oh crap, I'm going to die. I just burst out laughing because I just thought I have just, rather than killed everything, I have stolen everything. I own everything you had.
No, the best part was I only really ever did this in multiplayer, but I would have loved to have done it in single player. Was you combine your army of salvage corvettes with a gravwell generator simply for lulz. I'm gonna steal all your strike craft just for fun. Because they're already pissed off, and they think, oh, he's sending he's taking away all of my ion cannon frigates and all of my cruisers because he has this army of salvage corvettes. I'm gonna send some fighters. Lol, I got a gravwell generator, and I'm gonna steal all your strike craft too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but salvage corvettes and marine frigates and stuff, that works in multiplayer, right?
Salvage corvettes and gravwell generators do.
Oh man. The multiplayer is going to be troll game of the year.
But hold on. Can you salvage a salvage corvette?
I need a gravwell generator.
Alright guys, we all need to do some important research right now.
What would be awesome is when you go up against someone who hasn't played Homeworld before, who saw that, and then they go in and they think, oh, the Higaran or the Vega look cool, the Tidan and the Kushan look crap. Who designed those? And they're like, oh, I've got all my battle cruisers and destroyers, and what the fuck is that? Salvage corvettes? What
Fleet
are they
of
planning
salvage
on? Where is
corvettes.
all my stuff? What? You've literally stolen my entire fleet.
I want to use a salvage corvette to take a marine frigate. Just for the irony.
Now here's the thing, right? So all of us, us four plus Tucker, own Homeworld now. Thank you, Finney, for buying.
Harry, is yours working yet?
I am playing it. I'm still having to play it windowed, sadly. It is not working full screen just yet.
You
But
can't
that's okay.
even 1999 game properly.
No,
I know, but a lot of other people are having this problem as well. It's a known bug.
Yeah, it's an SLI thing, isn't it? Didn't we decide?
I think it is an SLI thing, and unfortunately I use Windows 10 as my actual main OS, and in Windows 10, once you engage
you're a
SLI, you
complete
cannot unengage it unless I physically pull the card out.
Why did you pick a technical release candidate as your main operating system? That is the dumbest
Because it's been
thing.
a fantastic operating system. It's got bugs,
You
sure,
still
but it's
don't
just It's been a
don't
fun
do
ride.
That.
It's my home computer. I'm not working.
Download VirtualBox if you want to try it. Fuck.
Nah.
Virtualization.
You only really properly try out a technical demo when you're actually using it. So.
I'll just wait till
Yeah,
it
and that's
comes
what
out.
virtual machines do. What do you think they do? You just sit
Also,
there and
Yeah, but you
look
can't
at
run
it
a
is free.
game in a
Remember,
virtual
it is
machine.
free. I'm just channeling Homeworld and just stealing all the shit.
It sounds
So
like
is
a channel
Linux. It
tucker.
actually works though, and Steam
Ugh.
OS.
Sounds
You
like
can
a
actually
channel
play your
tucker.
Steam games.
Just quickly with Homeworld, you do know in the story of Homeworld, you are a race that have been exiled from the galactic community, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking there was a good reason for that exile. All I'm doing is killing and stealing everything I come across.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't know there was a galactic community. You know what I mean? Like, it was more of a, at least in Homeworld 1, it's more of a, like, what the fuck, Bentuzi and all these, what the fuck's going on? What were the dudes in the Garden of Kadesh?
I
They,
forget their name.
well, they were Higaran, actually.
Oh, that's right. And then they got, spoilers, they got stuck. I felt really sorry for them. After
Yeah, actually, the remake has a repicturing of that. It's almost identical, the level, but for some reason it just seems so much more sad that you're killing your own people.
Because we're a bit older now. Like, when I was younger, I was like,
Yeah.
who are these guys with a million fighters? Piss off! And then now it's like, that's really sad.
You
Yeah.
call it, we
We-
can't
they
remember
got
our own.
stuck. You know?
Call it, we can't remember our own people, but remember they're talking about breaking a treaty that's 4,000 years old. We on Earth are still debating what happened 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not
They
it's
have
not
no
it's not
memory of
hard
this.
to it's not hard to imagine by any means. But what I was going to say was, so we've got it, Tucker's got it, another friend of ours, Ricky, has it. I'm sure we could scrounge up some other people online all around to have it. We should have an 8v8.
I tried
This
that
thing
and
is-
crashed.
Oh,
This thing is so
It
still in
crashed
beta.
hard.
that's unfortunate. All right,
Can we
just
all
a- just a
ally
2v2.
together and just
It could
we
simply not
fill
handle the awesome.
We can
Yeah.
fill salvage corvettes and grab well generators and just fuck up everybody.
True, we could be like a clan.
Why can't I salvage their mothership?
You can with marine frigates.
All right, well, that's the plan then. It'll be us four playing, but nobody knows who's... We have to eventually be allied, like 2v2, make it a 2v2, but going into the game, the match, we don't know who's going to be allied with who, so we have to, like, we have to do, like, secret text messages to each other about and sell ourselves to our ally to try, hey, Callan, ally with me, and that'll be fun, I think. I think we should do something like that.
Anyway, going from
I have done. Sorry, Cal.
No, you go.
I
I'm
have
about to
played the
change the subject.
multiplayer.
You go.
It's a hell of
No.
a lot of fun, if a bit unstable. But as I said, it's worth it. All 4 factions in there is incredible.
Talk about continuity break, though.
Oh no, it's really fun because I was Higaran up against Tydan, and I sent in a whole heap of interceptor squads because they built as squads in Homeworld 2, and they had the single interceptors flying out. And it was just interesting because I wasn't so much worried about winning because it was a crappy easy AI. It was how the balance would work. And so the single fighters are a hell of a lot better than the individual fighters from the second game.
You also can't
So it's-
really complain about.
Callan.
You can't complain about
Politeness intensifies.
You can't complain about continuity really in games when I can play a game as Alexander the Great getting nuked by Gandhi.
When it comes to multiplayer, a lot of it is off limits. For example, a battle cruiser isn't about 4 meters long.
No.
In StarCraft, so yeah.
Anyway, going on from RTS to as John so lovingly put this week, turn-based RTS.
Because that acronym makes all the sense in the world.
I decided to just go and play. You know what? Fuck it, playing Advance Wars because that was an
Yes.
addictive
Yes.
fucking game.
Which one? Which Advance Wars?
I was playing the original actually.
Best.
And then I
DS
decided to go to the. No, this is before DS. This is Game Boy Advance.
Oh, gee, I didn't play that one.
I had to
played the
play
DS
that
one.
on an emulator because I couldn't find a Game Boy Advance. But I also played Days of Ruin, which is one of the newer ones on 3DS. That's
what
it's just playing one of the new ones and playing one of the older ones. Like, wow, they really didn't have to change much, and yet both games are still thoroughly enjoyable.
They're great. Once you have some cool mechanics, you're set. You're fine. Just keep making them. People will keep buying them. Dark Souls 2 is the exact same as Dark Souls 1, but it's great fun.
Yeah, COD is exactly the same as all the other CODs, really, and it's still a working paradigm. Just keep going with it. Getting back into the intricacies of it was really fun. Like, have you all played Advance Wars?
I have.
Everyone has?
Played like the first one. It was a hell of a long time ago.
So explain what it is, though, for the listeners who don't know.
The Advance Wars was a really basic turn-based strategy. So essentially, you'd have your units and your construction.
More of a tactical turn-based strategy, right? Not Civ, but more you're moving units around. Yeah, not medieval Total War for 6-year-olds. An actual turn-based strategy game. So you basically have your resources are the cities around the place. You've got your airports for building air, your docks for building sea, and your industrial, I think they called it, or factories for building land units. And you just do whatever you can the one turn, end turn, let the other person go. So yeah, the general idea is sort of on the same lines as your civs and so on, but it's far more intricate and a lot more tactical because you do have to actually move direct units all next to each other, and it's checkerboard, it's chessboard. So you can only it's
move
like if you think of like sort of a Might and Magic kind of deal, but you're controlling a whole bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And then there's no sort of going into battle mode. It's all sort of done in the overworld. So
yeah, it's all random number, all just basically a very simple random number calculation, and then adding in all of the stats like of what area you in, is that defensible, what's your attack, what's your defense, what are you good against, what are you not good against, multipliers here and there. So yeah, very, very basic, like more basic than Pokemon. The biggest thing was basically your choice of CO, which is your commanding officer. And that can change the way change the entire dynamic of the game depending on which CO you choose, because some are better at other things than others. And that's why I was asking if you guys have played Advance Wars, because who was your favourite CO of the original series? Because most people will know the original series, not the Days of Ruin series. So does anybody even remember the names of them?
Nah, I remember what they look like.
Oh, well, yeah, because I always, whenever I'm playing a skirmish or anything like that, I always play as Kanbei, who's, his specialty is that he's good at everything, but everything's expensive, so he's the Apple of this game. But everything... well, it's true, it's more expensive, but it's better quality.
Alright, I'm done.
Yeah. What, you disagree with my statement? It's more expensive, but it's better. It's better quality.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard the word Apple and decided to...
I think I have something to say about that.
Move on, Cal!
I always seem to pick him because even though everything costs 10% more, it's 10% better. And also, who doesn't want to be a great, like, fucking samurai-looking guy who speaks really fucking strangely? And... yeah, it was
I played Shogun
always...
Total War.
The only annoying part was going up against, and spoiler alert, going up against Sturm, who's an enemy you face far later in the game, and has his special ability, which is he launches a fucking meteor at you that reduces all of the units in the area by 8 points, which is fucking annoying as dicks. It's just...
Meteors tend to have a slightly larger impact than that.
No, Finny,
Thanks,
I've
Mr.
played the documentary Diablo 2, and when the wizard shoots a meteor at somebody, it's just localized to that person. I think you should listen to me because I've seen the documentary. And I believe Advance Wars follows the same physics engine as
yeah, you're a geologist, not a meteorologist.
Yeah, Finny.
Oh boy.
Yes, I am aware a meteorologist is someone who studies the weather.
Cal, jokes are funnier when you don't explain them.
Yeah, but I don't want to show my own complete idiocy. I'm not Harry.
I don't think Tucker could handle that statement. He must explain all jokes.
That's true. Fucking
No,
Tucker.
it's
We're making fun of a lot of
it's-
Tucker because he's not here for 2 weeks straight. Cause he's
Yeah,
fucking
but for 2 weeks I was
Just
stuck
so-
in Japan with him, and he explained every joke.
Oh no, it's part of his.
That was
That
his
got a bit
thing.
trying.
Actually,
I
it
just
kind of
did-
got trying
there's-
and then became funny again.
It's like
Sideshow
Sideshow Bob
Bob
stepping on the
effect.
rake. Thank you, Finney.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you step on something? The downward force
You
makes
see, in The Simpsons episode, season 4, episode 23, Sideshow Bob steps on several rakes, and so.
John, let me put it like this.
All right, now we're just getting to in jokes. So,
That's
have
it.
you finished
I'm cutting
Advance
you all
Wars?
off.
I'm done with Advance Wars.
I can't even.
It's
do I,
fucking,
do
I
I,
need to send you guys to fucking Segway school.
I went
Speaking-
fine.
Speaking of segues, no, speaking of old games, I've been playing a game from 2008. I love everything pre-2010. Everything went to shit in 2010.
Not only just an old game, but a shit game because it's on the PlayStation
It's
3.
the best game. Well,
Even
I've
though
only
I
just
played
started
it.
playing it.
On PC.
Andrew and I have only just started playing it because it's on PC now. And it is actually one of my new favorite games ever, which is Valkyria Chronicles. I love this game so much. It's such a nice game. It's a little weird at times. At a few times, I get a vibe that I shouldn't like this game. Like, I maybe am getting vibes from this game that are, like, really pedophilic or something. Like, it's, like, turn-based squad. You control individual units in your squad per turn. But everyone in your squad are like anime-ish, like cutesy girls with short dresses running through World War II, shooting bad guys.
I was waiting for
What is it they
it. So
say
this is
when
sort
a
of like
Pokemon
Sucker Punch the
evolves?
game.
No,
What-
Sucker
oh,
Punch is
God,
actually
no.
cool.
God, no. No, it's not Sucker
Love
Punch at all.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah,
What
she
does
was
it actually
prancing
say?
around in a-
What, Callan?
No, it's saying
Callan.
she actually does prance around in a Japanese schoolgirl sailor outfit in World War II with zombies and shit.
Yeah, because it's anime.
Yeah,
That happens in every
But
single
that's
anime.
a shit movie. No,
But
this
wasn't
show.
an anime. This was Sucker Punch. It was a movie.
Yeah, which is anime, pretty much. Sucker Punch is pretty much an anime.
Nah, that's a shit movie.
I will say, though, Harry, despite
Yeah.
my groan, I played Valkyria Chronicles back in the day, and mechanics-wise, it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, mechanics-wise, it is a really enjoyable game. I think the other part to that mechanic, though, is that at times it is so infuriating. But when you have an enjoyable game that gets infuriating at times, you just come crawling back for more. It gets into a really... you get a bad... You become the game's bitch, basically.
Yeah, we've all dated that girlfriend.
We've all dated that girlfriend. But I really like this game. It's so fun and earnest, and everything is layered on as thick as a Disney film. I like when they're trying to show that, you know, people from different races are all the same. You know, we should all respect them. They're really obvious about it. It's like a kids program, but that's where I'm worried, because it's a kids program. Why am I dancing around a battlefield, shooting people and getting shot, and running the risk of permadeath for certain squad members? That's not a kids show.
Harry,
What is
anime
this
are
that
all
I'm
kids
playing?
shows.
I was about to say Attack on Titan.
There's a reason
Everyone
that
dies.
there's a
Everything
reason that
dies.
every JRPG or Final Fantasies, every anime, all star 15-year-old schoolgirls, because
Yeah.
it's made for children.
Because John can't read.
Because I can't read.
Yeah, but anyway, and it's got all these allegories to, you know, real World War II, even though it's set in a fictional place. But with that as a backdrop, the game itself is really unique. I love the art style. I love the character classes. Like, they sat down and thought, okay, what's a medieval fantasy magical way of putting together an RPG? And so they just recreate an RPG in a way that it would look had it been invented during the time of, you know, pre-World War II. Like, it looks like something out of, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Let me just
more
stop
like
you
a-
right there, Harry.
Yeah.
As to the origins of Dungeons and Dragons and World War II, they're a bit of a time apart, I might say.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. The game is quite timeless. It's set in this country that's, I don't know.
It's an amalgamation of all the neutral European nations in World War II.
Okay,
Google
so it's not an
history.
actual map. It's not an actual map of Europe and England.
No, it's a made-up fantasy Europe. It's so obviously Europe, just completely ripped off, but
Right.
it's its own unique little fantasy land.
Are all the Nazis cute Nazi girls?
No. So all the
No,
Nazis are racist bastards, and you can't see their face, so it's perfectly okay to shoot all of them.
Except there's this one 22-year-old girl that's like a brigadier general whose boobs are so big she literally would have the world's worst back problems ever.
Yeah, it's okay. She has superpowers. Whenever she's not blowing something up, she's using those superpowers simply to stand up with those ginormous boobs.
She's also got a giant lance, let's call
Lance,
it.
dildo.
Which, yeah. First time I saw that, I thought, that's not subtle.
If only they made a game with these mechanics, but something that wasn't for fucking retards.
Yeah, nah. The childishness of the and it feels like a series because it's broken up into episodes or mini episodes, cutscenes, and games. But the childishness,
And there's 4 more games afterwards as well. So.
Yeah, but screw those. No, seriously, fuck those. They are
The
actually
second one's
anime
meant to be
bullshit.
really good.
No. Like, it's what I would consider anime bullshit. Okay, everyone is an absolute trope in the sequel.
That's
It's
gotta be
rubbish.
bad.
This game is sincere. They have tropes, but the tropes are sincere. They're trying to be deep, meaningful characters. In the following ones, they're jokes. No. But anyway, the sincereness eventually gets through to you. It erodes that whole skepticism away, and then when it throws on the feels, you get the feels. And Harry does like him some feels.
I'm not one for the feels in games, but this one got to me in a few places.
And so, Harry, you've finished the game, right? And Finny,
I haven't. Oh my god, I want to spoil it, but I can't.
Harry lives under constant threat of death now.
Yes, basically.
Cal, does this make you want to play something? Does it make you want to play it?
Sounds interesting, but it's not high on my list of priorities.
Well, the reason I ask is because it seems that when it comes to anime stuff, you want to automatically play VNs. Now, this sounds like an anime thing that doesn't have boring as fuck mechanics like a VN.
But
Why don't you immediately jump on it?
Because your preconception of me may not be correct.
I highly doubt it. My prejudices are all
Having
accurate.
erroneous preconceptions.
My prejudices are all accurate, Callan. Everybody knows that. Especially
Look,
You're both right.
I
You're both right, you're both
do
wrong.
enjoy anime and VNs, but that doesn't mean that. Oh my god, this is made in Japan with anime styling. Callan, you must like this. Oh my god.
Well, I just figured that it'd be something you'd already have played because it was so famous. And
I actually had played it quite some time ago. I just never finished it, mostly because I just stopped using my PS3. But I've never really gotten back into it, and look, it's interesting, and I do want to play it at some point, but it's not something I'm going to go, oh my god, I need to play because it has anime girls. No. Mine does not work like that.
You and Harry are very different beasts then.
It's not really that anime-ish, actually.
Yeah, no, I
Sort of,
remember
but
from
it's not
playing
really.
It wasn't too
It's
bad.
half
And then
and half.
I watched you play on Sunday morning as well, and it wasn't too bad. So
Yeah, but then again, I went instantly for like the power-ups where they have like the lines flying in the background while the guy gives an order, just so it could be
true.
as anime as possible.
That's true. It was super anime with that. Oh dear. Oh, guys. Okay, so speaking of anime, are you done, by the way, Harry? Finny?
I'll simply finish by saying, yes, Callan, you would actually enjoy it. Not for the reason John is saying, because it's not a VN, because you're not reading, you're listening, because it's all voiced, and in between all the cutscenes is the game part, so it's not a VN, even if it is VN-ish.
I am aware of this. Remember, I just said that I did play a little bit of this.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it gets a
aware.
lot more in-depth towards the end of the game, but yeah, but you would like it. It is a fun game, and I'd recommend it to anyone else, because it's just a game you can get into a lot.
It's also the
Harry
first
is done.
turn-based strategy game I've enjoyed.
It's a really long game, isn't it?
Yes.
that's a
That
problem for
depends.
me.
It is really long in that you have to play some of the harder missions, finding out what the exploit is that you have to do. With a lot of missions, there's a particular weapon you have to have, and if you haven't brought that weapon with you, you're boned.
And how do you find that out, though? Do you go on a wiki or something and read?
No, you just play
No,
through
in
it.
fact, I was very persistent, and I insisted on playing this thing without the wiki because I was enjoying the game so much. I didn't want to cheapen it by doing that. It's normally pretty easy to find out what it is that you need to do. Some of the missions require you running a lot, so you need the type of unit that can move a lot. Some of them you're really hunkered down, so having those units is completely useless. You need the ones that can just absorb all of the damage. So it's just a matter of finding that out. That takes time.
So how? I mean, you can check your Steam right now. So you've finished the game. How many hours do you have in the game?
Ooh, that is a really good question. Allow me
Played
to
about 19
check.
hours.
Jeez.
Holy shit! I've played 7 hours of How Do You Do It?
Oh dear.
I'm not even kidding. I have completed.
Such a bad person.
I know, I really am.
How
I've
many
completed
sexes did you
Valkyria
do?
Chronicles. Oh, so many sexes. I've done sex so many times. Valkyria Chronicles totaled 67 hours for me.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Now-
ever playing this game.
Now, hold on. I probably every now and then just leave it minimized while I'm playing CS:GO, so it's probably closer to 50 hours, really.
I don't
and
understand how you do something like that. Like,
If-
if I go to
if
play
you're
a
happy
game,
to-
I close everything on my computer that's not that game. And my computer can handle running 2 games at once, but I
Yeah.
just feel so paranoid it's a habit.
Well, you don't need to. I have an absolute beast of a computer, so it's no problem. Yeah. So if you quickly Googled, I'm sure some websites would give you like a quick hint or something rather than a step-by-step how-to guide. So you could look at those hints and probably shave an easy 15 hours off the entire thing from that alone.
That's still too long. I can't dedicate that sort of time. Like, when I found out that Advanced Warfare was an 8-hour game, I was excited because I was like, yes! I can finish a game, finally! Finishing a game is very difficult when you have 280, almost 300 games in your Steam library.
Yeah. Remember that this is sort of channeling a visual novel, and lots of visual novels have zero gameplay whatsoever. It's just hitting next to read the next line, and it goes for a shit ton longer than 67 hours, some of them. Some of them
Guarantee you that.
Yep.
Anyway, well, glad to hear that you guys are enjoying it, and I'm sure, Finny, you'll give your impressions more next week, maybe, when you finished it, or how far?
Oh, he better. I will spoil the shit out of it otherwise.
If you do, Harry, you will regret it.
Well, you can't spoil it anyway, because maybe our listeners will want to play it. But Finny, have you?
No, if
how
he
far
spoils
through are
to it in person just to be annoying, I will. You will regret it severely.
That's okay, Finny. He
according
won't
to
spoil
Harry,
anything
I'm-
because I can spoil all of Game of Thrones the next season for him if he spoils
You-
it. So don't even
Harry-
worry about it.
Yep, Harry. John, what would you like in payment should this state of affairs come to be?
Oh, $1,000 or get him to install Origin.
Part of my revenge for Harry, if he spoiled it, would be installing Origin on his computer when he wasn't looking.
So Harry, you have to pay $1,000.
That would be very funny, because I've already warned Andrew that I've made said spoiler my desktop wallpaper. So...
That is terrible.
So if he tried to install Origin preemptively, he would indeed spoil it for himself.
No, I'd only do that if you actually spoiled it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if he
true.
actually
Which I'm not
spoiled
going
it.
to do.
Yeah, he's
It's
not
not
going
really-
to do that, and I'm
I
totally
know.
not going to tell you that Daenerys does, and she leads to a series of consequences, and a series of events happens based off those consequences.
Is that at the place?
It's at the place with the thing and the guy.
Oh.
That's what happens. I've ruined it for you. Anyway, is there anything else from you guys this week?
Nope.
Harry, Gal, anything?
I'm good.
All right, well, I'd like to thank you all for joining us for Uninformed. I'd like you also to please subscribe to us in iTunes, watch us on YouTube, tweet us at Uninformed News, or email us at uninformedpodcast@gmail.com. I'm John Clark,
I'm Harrison Leake.
I'm Andrew Finn.
And I'm Cal Hilton.
and you've become Uninformed.
Also, why is Steam recommending to me Honey Pop?
Gee, I wonder, Callan, why?
I am actually genuinely confused as to why or how I have 7 hours.
It was written by possibly the most autistic person in existence. It was written by, like, the most autistic person in existence. Like, A Beautiful Mind had nothing on this.
Yeah. I think that's the pot calling the kettle autistic right there, Callan. Alright, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I know autism. This is it.
Let me tell you what a hammer is.
Simulator.
I'm gonna go play How Do You Do It again.
Okay. Make sure you get the right amount of sex.
Yeah. Oh my
I just
Oh my god, the reviews!
Like after this.
The reviews!
Imagine this.
I got it.
I'm trying to remember what your sex life will be like after this. It'll be like, I'm sure this is how we do it.
Okay, look, I got a bone to pick with Steam. Steam reviews have become such, like, epic Eben memes, only the dankest memes in this thing. It's like, everything, it's so
Like
dumb.
the rest
I
of
want
the
an actual
internet.
review, and it's like 10 out of 10, walked out of door, turned around, and died again.
Yeah.
And playing
Why
Five
would you
Nights at
listen?
Freddy's.
Why would you pay attention to Steam reviews if you actually want to learn about
Because
the
they
game?
used to be alright, but now
I've actually found it's
all,
okay. I've found
it's all
that
dankest memes.
no, all games that I think are shit. I've looked at the reviews, and there's no dank meme reviews because
Yeah,
it's a
but
shit
you went
game.
and played Five Nights at Freddy's, which is the 8-year-old simulator.
It's a fun
Because
game. I enjoyed
its
it.
Biggest audience is Markiplier viewers and PewDiePie viewers
But
who are all
it's
8 years
cheap.
old.
It's cheap, and you get some good scares, so it was worth the money.
But he keeps. Do you know when Five Nights at Freddy's 1 came out?
I don't know.
August 2014.
Yeah.
And we're up to Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
Yeah, they're cheap games. They're really cheap.
How cheap?
Because money, John.
Yeah, no, I know why he makes it. I'm surprised why you keep buying it.
I haven't bought any of the Five Nights, so yeah,
No,
that's not
Harry.
Let's
really
see.
Harry
Five
is
Nights
fine
at
as
Freddy's is $4.99. I don't consider that to be terribly expensive. That's
I think that's too expensive for what it is.
nah. For the reaction it got out of me, shit. I've spent a lot more money on games that have gotten nothing like that out of me, at all. Oh man,
right.
I need to quickly read some of these reviews for How Do You Do It. It's the best. There's literally only one negative, and all he has to say is played game. I'm still not sure. How do you do it? Waiting for Oculus Rift support.
Well, wasn't that game created on a bet that you couldn't create a game in like 3 hours?
No, it was a game jam game. It skipped Steam Greenlight because it won the Indie Game Awards or whatever, so it got straight onto Steam.
Really?
It was part of a game jam, make it in 3 hours, but it's based on a Flash game, which if you can't tell, it's totally shit because it's based on a Newgrounds Flash game.